Boxing fans, some interesting news to tell you. WBA Super Champion Wladimir Klitschko, WBA Regular Champion Alexander Povetkin are due to meet in 2013 and early 2013, according to the WBA. The governing body says that the two must meet. The purse bids are up for grabs in January, and I believe the fight has to be made before February the 28th. Okay. For me, do you remember the times where people used to talk about Povetkin as the next heavyweight champion of the world? And don't lie, don't say you weren't one of those who thought Povetkin could be a champion and beat the Klitschkos, because beforehand Povetkin was the next best thing before he got exposed by the likes of Huck, who came up from cruiserweight and hurt him, and he hasn't looked very impressive in his fights. The sort of guys he's been fighting, not been great. Plus Povetkin has pulled out from 2 fights. In 2008 he was due to fight Wladimir Klitschko, and in 2009 he pulled out yet again. And a lot of the views now from boxing critics and people around the world is that Povetkin doesn't fancy a shot against the Klitschko brothers, either one of them, and they don't think he's good enough. The other thing is that Alexander Povetkin was being trained by Teddy Atlas, and if you remember rightly, Teddy Atlas, who was training Povetkin, said he's not ready for Wladimir Klitschko. So, you know, they were preparing to fight Wladimir Klitschko, but they didn't think he was good enough. And there's been nothing to suggest since those 2 fights, he's pulled out of those 2 fights, that he's prepared and got any better to fight Wladimir Klitschko. I mean, look at his opponents. If anything, the fight he had against Huck exposed him to having a less than concrete chin, and he's going to need that chin against Wladimir Klitschko's big right hand. And if Marcus Huck, right, if Huck can hurt Povetkin, you can bet your bottom dollar, your euro, you know, that Klitschko will find his chin. Povetkin is not the greatest defensive fighter. He's a bit of a plodder. He doesn't move his head. He's got fairly fast hands, but you got to think Wladimir Klitschko's left jab, long reach, ring generalship, ability to hold and frustrate, and of course that big right hand that's laid out so many opponents. You've just got to think to yourself, it's trouble for Povetkin. But the fight needs to happen, to be honest. I've never been a fan of this regular champion WBA and super champion WBA. There should just be one WBA champion. That same nonsense is happening in the super middleweight division. You've got Andre Ward, who's a WBA champion, super champion. He's got to be a super champion because Mikkel Kessler's just beat Brian McGee for the WBA title as well. But how can you win a WBA title when the guy you fought in the Super 6, you know, had that title anyway? I don't get that, and it don't make sense to me. I think it causes more confusion. Yes, there's opportunity for people to make money and for the governing body to make money, fine, but it just brings confusion. But anyway, back to my point. So Wladimir Klitschko and Alexander Povetkin are going to meet. I say Wladimir Klitschko dominates the fight with the left jab and then puts Povetkin to sleep anywhere after about 6 rounds or 7 rounds onwards. 7th round onwards. I think by that time Povetkin's face is probably going to be a mess, and that right hand will have landed enough times, and I think either Povetkin quits in his corner or he gets knocked out. And Povetkin, I hate to be so harsh about Povetkin, he gives me the impression he's the type of guy who will quit in a corner, but I could be completely wrong. But for me, Povetkin gets knocked out in this fight, and it's only a matter of time. More interestingly for me, I'd like to know what happens when Vitaly vacates the title, because Wladimir holds all the other belts. Vitaly's got the WBC, and then Ariola, whoever else would become, and the other guy, one of the two of those guys who are fighting the final eliminator, would become the #1 contender. But hold on, Wladimir Klitschko's champion of all those other belts. If Vitaly retires, then where do you rank Wladimir? You can't rank Wladimir below Tyson Fury and Chris Arreola, can you? So how does that work out? Anyway, that's just those are just my views. Let me know what you boxing guys and girls think. What's your views on the WBA and these various titles? Is it a good thing? Champion, super champion, for the casual boxing fan, it must be very confusing. And the Vladimir Vitaly Klitschko situation, how does that work out? What do you think? Should Vladimir Klitschko ultimately be #1 contender for the WBC championship because he is the brother and he's got all the other titles and ranks higher than all the other guys because he's champion? Is he entitled to that? Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave your comments. I'm out.